Tell us a little bit about your story and about when you and your wife found out she had breast cancer.
Well, we was actually celebrating Mother's Day, and she haphazardly said she wanted to do a self-examination. So we was laying in the bed, and she said, so she started examining her breast, and she said, this feel like a knot. And so she told me to feel it, and we just sit there, and we just was in awe about how easy, and it was so devastating that she found a lump on, and then especially on Mother's Day. That was the first time we found out, and that's when we discovered the lump. And then that Tuesday, we went to her doctor, and he ran a series of tests. And the same day, he told her that it was malignant, and he scheduled her surgery for the following week. So it was a fast-paced thing that we had to experience with no fair warning, really. So
Talk a little bit about your family and the age of you and your wife, and what that was like with a breast cancer diagnosis.
we was we was actually newly married, and we was both 26 when we discovered that she had breast cancer. And my daughter was 4 and my son was 8 when we found out. So it was a very tragic experience, but we suffered through it, and we fought through it, and I can say we still survived.
You are a co-survivor to this diagnosis, but what do you see as what happened in the 1980s versus now, as far as breast cancer awareness and information?
In the 80s, it wasn't a lot of information out to say that, to educate you on breast cancer. Either you went into the hospital, they didn't diagnose you with having breast cancer, they're going to say either you're going to have a total mastectomy, remove your lip nodes, or to be safe, on the safe side, they'll remove both of your breasts. But in today's society, you have a whole lot of information that will educate you on diagnosing breast cancer. You have a lot of more medical experiences, whereas you don't have to remove the total breast. You can remove the portions of the breast. You don't have to remove all of your lip nodes, but you can. And then the medical experiences is totally different, whereas you was dealt with a rash of chemotherapy, and you was in inpatient care for chemotherapy. Then now you can go home after your same chemotherapy. So
Certainly, research has changed a lot of things, and
research has made a grand leap and bound over the years. It has moved leaps and bounds. So,
what do you think that your wife struggled with the most?
Well, she's had a very good grade of hair, and when she lost every strand of it to chemotherapy, that was one of her most depressing, and it wasn't even the breast removal, it was her hair, because she felt like her appearance was diminished, and it was hard for her to deal with society as being bald, and knowing that her appearance had changed.
And at that time, was there support or support groups?
Very little support if you didn't have family members that could support you and tell you it's going to be all right. That was basically it. And, you had your doctors going to say this, all right, but to have a group that say, well, I done been through this, it was very little of that.
Do you have a favorite memory?
Yes. She was actually doing chemotherapy on New Year's Day. We were celebrating it was New Year's Eve, and we was celebrating New Year's Eve in PNS Hospital back then. So, and I was a big baby myself, so and I used to DJ when I was coming up. So she said I was crying about I needed a new receiver. So she, before she went into the hospital, she went and slipped and bought me one. So she gave it to me while we was in the hospital. So I was laying on the floor, and I had brought some champagne, and it was very, even through the trials, it was still a sweet memory of how gracious she was.
Oh, all these years later, that little 5-year-old daughter is now the race chairman for the Race for the Cure. What are your thoughts on that?
It's bittersweet, actually, because she's supporting something that she had to experience. She experienced it at a very young age, but she's still going through and facing the challenge that is still hope for other people, because it's not just about my family or your family. It's about everybody's family, because everybody can be impacted one way or the other with breast cancer. It may be your sister, it may be even maybe your brother. So it don't really matter what gender you are.
That's the truth. Komen and its mission, now that you know about Komen and its mission, what would you say to the public to encourage them to get involved in our Race for the Cure and to donate?
Susan G. Komen is a great organization to participate in, because it helps those who can help themselves. Because you have people that's not financially stable to afford health care, and they can get their mammograms and their wellness through Susan G. Komen. And it helps because they can help themselves, and it help their lives, the betterment of their lives. So whatever you can do, support, because this is a great organization for people who can help themselves.